Joining me today, live from Radio Row in Los Angeles, it's our Bengals writer, one of our Bengals writers at The Athletic, Paul Dehner Jr. So you wrote yesterday about the scouting staff there, which is obviously, again, an outlier. The way that they do business is different,
That's
right?
an understatement.
So
yeah.
you look at the Rams. I'm staring at Jordan Rodriguez right here. You look at the Rams and what they do. They have 26 people on in their personnel department.
And that's actually probably taking it easy. That doesn't even go into their analyst side that they have listed like another 30.
And the teams at the top make sense, right? So you have the Ravens, you have the Browns, you have, I think probably the Eagles are up there, the Rams are up there. That all makes sense. The Bengals have 6.
Yes.
6 members of their personnel department. How do you think some of the tweaks they've made there, how do you think that operation has fueled just the way they've built this team? Like, what do you think the strengths of that are? Because they're going to tell you that they think it is actually an advantage.
They believe it is a feature, not a malfunction. And they believe there is a synergy that comes from understanding the building, because the coaches, the thing is, it's not that they have 6. It's that the coaches are the other 15.
Yeah.
Okay? And so they want the coaches to feel like they have ownership over they know who they can coach. They know what Zach Taylor wants. They know the type of guys that fit and what they're missing. And they want the coaches to feel part of the personnel staff. They want the personnel staff to feel part of the coaches. The personnel staff will often go on the headsets during games and be on the coach headsets. 1, to be an extra hand if anybody were to need anything, but 2, just to have a pulse for what they're talking about, what they're in the moment voicing frustration about, to have a sense of that. Duke does that. Mike Potts, the college director of scouting, does that. Because it's all, they want it all to be together. They're around ownership all the time. They're all in the building. They all are there together working on that, and they feel like it creates a sense of unanimous voice of everybody truly understanding what you're looking for in players. And so unlike, one example that was made to me was, look, other guys, they live on a different part of the country. They circle their area all year.
It's wild, but there are scouts that just live in their own area.
And they'll come in for the draft or for meetings or Zoom or whatever. The constant conversations that are had in the locker room with players, in with ownership, in with coaches, those things they feel like really help build a true sense of community amongst everybody pushing in the same direction of what they need. Is that right? No. The Rams and Bengals being here proves there is no right way.
Yeah.
That you can do it whatever, but they view it as their way, and they don't need more. The thing that have been told to me at the very beginning is we don't need more voices. We just need the right voices. And Duke Tobin said, I have the right voices. I know it. 2 voices are not worse than 6 if the 6 are all over the place and the 2 are together in unison and the right choice, and that's kind of how they view it.
I'll play devil's advocate. They were terrible at building this team for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
They've gotten much better at it, and the reason this all works is the Burrow side of this, getting Jamar Chase with the 5th overall pick, and the way they've built the defense. And I think that is, as I step back and I think about this, and I think what aspects of this are replicable, what are things that you can take away? The thing I keep coming back to is looking at the types of players they went after in free agency on defense, where the price ranges are in those guys. There's a Chidobe Awuzie and a Von Bell available in every single free agent class. You can find those guys. You have to pay a premium for a DJ Reader when you would chase a guy like that, or a Trey Hendrickson. But there are aspects of this where the way they've built this thing, the personalities, how smart those guys are, the way that's all come together, to me, that's the most fascinating part of what this team is, because it doesn't require getting the number 1 overall pick in a year where the greatest college quarterback of the last 15 years comes out.
It's the interesting conversation that I've seen, whether in the comments or responses to the scouting stories. Oh, yeah, how about this? You luck into Joe Burrow because you stink so much. Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, this isn't happening. We're not talking about these slick moves if they went 7-10 with some other quarterback. But so yes, there is a total luck element to building that. But you have to get out of the way. You have to understand how to let Joe Burrow do his thing, what leadership looks like, and what he needs to complement him. Let's not act like it was like, oh yeah, draft Burrow, draft Chase. Like we didn't spend 6 months talking about Chase versus Sewell and how to build this thing. And the decisions are, every spot is its own decision, its own right. So yes, you get Burrow. A lot of people have gotten good quarterbacks. How many times has it come across like this? Sometimes, but we haven't seen anything like this.
And the defense took them here. Let's just be honest. The defense is the reason they're here, because the way the defense has played over the last 2 weeks.
The step this team was supposed to take this year of making the playoffs and maybe winning a game, is augmented by the defense. They're here because the defense took them that extra 2 rounds because they weren't good enough offensively yet because of their line to get to the next step,
100%.
to carry them. The defense carried them the rest of the way.
Something I like to ask somebody who covers the team day to day, it's just who are we not talking about enough? Like, who are the unsung heroes, in your opinion, of this Bengals season that are, at its core, a couple of the reasons that they're here but aren't on my mind?
Sam Hubbard.
That's a really good one.
Look, people don't. I mean, when they drafted Burrow, the year they were going to draft Burrow, Hubbard and Burrow are great friends since back in their Ohio State days together. Hubbard goes to Miami, Super Bowl's in Miami that year. Burrow's doing the rounds as the Heisman guy. They hung out all week. They went like fishing together and hung out together and started to build the literal core. There's a reason that the two of them went out for the coin toss in Kansas City. The literal core of the next generation started, and Hubbard was a big part of. They've kind of viewed the two of those guys as like defense, offensive, really quiet leadership, hardworking, does everything the right way every day, relentless in practice, relentless in meetings. We want both sides of the ball to be based around that, to look like that. We want guys that play like that and think like that. Those two, Hubbard is the other side of it. He doesn't get a lot of shine because he's not
really
a pass rusher. He picks up scraps that is created.
He does weird roles, like he's a spy in certain situations. Like it just they in the Oakland game they had him lined up off the ball. I mean, the sack he was lined up as an off-ball linebacker. It's just he plays this kind of, I don't know. There's not a lot of rigidity to the role that he plays. He does a lot of different things for them. Yeah, well, and he's like a run stopper, like a great run stopper. And so there's a selflessness to like he's not kind of this when you think of great edges, but he is really the personality that he plays with and the tenacity and kind of energy that he plays with feeds everyone. That's kind of what's defined that defense, right? Flying after the ball, always chasing a pass when it gets deflected and able to be there to get the pick. It's been a big part of what they do as a whole. So, I mean, I think he's probably one that I would point to. What aspect of this, when it comes to the city, the fan base, watching how Cincinnati has reacted to this team, will stick with you the longest?
I don't think, to me, this, as much as this season, on a national perspective, has been about Burrow and everything he is and has become, and the fun Cinderella story of the Bengals. For those inside the city, I grew up there. I understand the dynamics of the team and the city probably as well as anybody. This season will always be about this city coming alive. It will always be about this thing that has been created during this run because it will never be like this again.
Yeah. You only get one first time.
You only get one first time breaking through with the new group and the fun new guy. And they've been – it's not just the Bengals. The Reds last advanced in the postseason in 1995. There is a generation of Cincinnati sports fans that have never experienced success in the postseason ever. Yeah. And this year has been so special for that group of people who are 30, right? Who are just now learning what it's like when the Cincinnati, it's a great sports town, but it's just been so beaten down to now suddenly the fabric of it, of how they define themselves is changed because they believe that Joe Burrow is going to come out of the tunnel now. And it just doesn't feel like you're waiting for Carson Palmer's injury or Kenyon Martin's leg or Andy Dalton's thumb or Johnny Cueto's oblique or any of millions of things that have killed great runs in the past. It's like they're washed away and you're starting over and you now understand that being a sports fan is fun. Yeah. It's not something that you beat yourself up about and complain about ownership every week. It's fun. It can create unbelievable moments and connections between fans, between fathers and sons and daughters and friends and neighbors. And the videos that have come out of all of these special events have been like just – to me, that's been the story. That has been the story of what's happened inside of the city of Cincinnati, whether they win Sunday or not. I mean, no one can ever take that away. They may come back. It'll never feel like this again. It'll never be as special as this has been for the city, and that's what I'll take away.
I totally understand that. These are the moments and these are the reasons that being a sports fan is worth it.